to the TGS Union live stream Thursday show with our good pal and monitor engineer, Brendan Kennedy.
Hello. How's it going?
There he is.
Nice sweater.
So we're going to kick it off by just asking Brendan how he got started with the band The Glorious Sons.
Well, back in 2015, I knew Ian, who works with you guys a bit, and he knew that I toured with another band that he had previously worked with, and they're known to be some fun guys. And he said, if you can handle working with those guys, you could probably handle working with these, and connected me with you guys. And I think the first show we did, I was tour managing and doing front of house sound for you guys back then. And the first show we did was a CMW show with Billy Talent at the Sheridan.
That's right.
And then, we toured for a couple of years. And then the SOS tour, I was out with JJ Wild doing front of house, and then jumped on the monitor board with you guys on that one. And had ever since.
Yeah, we needed a solid monitor guy. Run these dang in-ears.
Yeah, exactly. But so I think, I was pretty young the first go around, so a lot of mistakes were made. But I was the same age as Brett, so I think I was like 22 or 23.
Yeah, young boy. It's a lot to take on, especially with us psychos. At that time,
exactly,
all piled on each other in an RV.
Yeah, and then the first bus tour, everything that comes with that, the excitement of the first bus across Canada. Yeah.
We didn't have any breakdowns though, right?
I don't think on that one, no.
No, we eventually ended up having
almost got Randy behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Taking care of stuff.
I liked Randy though. Well, any questions you have for Brendan about what he does for the band, any stories you want him to tell, anything you want to ask, you put it on in the old comment section here. And just so you know, Brendan, you're seeing me real time. They're seeing me like 15 to 30 seconds behind, so it's going to take them a second.
Cool. Yeah, no worries. I figured that when I watched a couple of these with the delay between them,
Yeah.
That's cool.
So far, nothing.
So far, just a lot of chatter.
Yeah.
A lot of Leafs chatter.
There is a lot of Leafs chatter. Oh, they got Richie in tonight.
One of the funny things about the Leafs, I still always remember, I think it was San Diego on the last tour that we did. I remember walking across stage and hearing in the ears from the crowd mics, someone being like, he's wearing a Leafs hat. I'm like, yeah, you think a guy from working with a Canadian band is a fan of a Canadian hockey team? Who would think?
Yeah, that's weird. How about this question for you from Chris Pike? What's the weirdest thing people have asked you for? I suppose that pertaining to a show.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious things are set lists and drumsticks and stuff like that, but I don't think I've ever been asked for anything that weird, I guess. Just
okay.
I think what I think is weird is a set list that's ripped to shreds because it was soaked in beer and ripped apart and someone's asking for it, and I'm like, what are you going to do with that? But I guess
they love it.
That's weird. Other than that, I think, that's probably it.
Okay, here's a good one from Gabby. What's the hardest part of your job, and what's the best part of your job?
The hardest part about my job, I don't know. I mean, it's been so long since I've done it, but I think just the exhaustion that comes with traveling is probably the hardest. I think a lot of people underestimate how hard it is to travel all the time and be away from home and stuff like that. But the best part, was that the other one?
Yeah.
The best part is also the traveling though too, the places we get to go and see, and obviously doing cool venues like 930 Club or Scotiabank Arena, stuff like that. I think is probably the coolest part. Having days off in cool cities is also probably the best part as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's both things. It's hard and good at the same time. Especially you look back at it from sitting at home for over a year, I regret a lot of missed opportunities to see things and stuff like that over. Like I just sleep instead, but that's kind
Hey,
of.
when it comes back, you'll appreciate it.
I know it's kind of part of it though. Like you're there to play the show and do the show, and that's the most
Yeah,
important thing. So if you're tired and you need your sleep, you got to do it. But I'm gonna try harder on this next one.
sweet. You know, Gab and I are always down for an adventure.
I know. Okay, Pete Durbray asks you, did you go to school for recording engineer or something similar?
I went to school for music business at Durham College. There was like a live sound class in it, but it wasn't a specific live sound program or anything. But I did learn like quite a bit. But I kind of just learned. There's also another class where it's like a little music industry on campus, and I was involved in like the live sound part of that. So, and a program like that is, you know, the more you volunteer to do stuff, the more you're going to get out of it. So every open mic, so I kind of just learned by doing it more. And then when I moved,
Like a crash and burn situation.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then when I moved to Toronto after school, I got hired at a couple venues and just like, you know, learned from there and learned from YouTube and stuff like that, and asked
YouTube's
a
a
lot
great
of
learning tool.
questions. And, yeah, stuff like that. So.
How about this one? It would, I assume this question would come. It's from Peter One, and it's your craziest road story.
Oh man. There's a couple. The RV one that's been mentioned on here is one that gets brought up quite a bit. For those not familiar, I took an RV under a bridge that was too short and took off the air conditioner clean off the top of the RV.
Yeah.
But another one, I was on tour with a band. We had a show in Vancouver, and then 3 days later had a show in Hamilton. So we just drove 54 hours straight from
That's
Vancouver
crazy.
to Toronto without stopping. I mean, like the
In a van?
craziness of just being in a van driving that far. And we did that in the RV from LA to
Yeah.
Toronto too, another time.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's pretty crazy in its own right, I think. I'm not like crazy rock and roller. I don't really do much, as you know.
Yeah, you got to get your rest because you're up early, and that
Yeah.
segues us into the next question from Donna Mayer, and this question is: how many hours a day do you figure you work?
I guess it depends on the tour more than anything. I mean, like the Canadian tour that we got cut off on, those were long days because like we're loading in at 8 in the morning,
Yeah.
7 in the morning sometimes, loading out at midnight, if not a little later. So those days were like 7 in the morning till 2 in the morning, sometime by the time you get to bed and everything. But if we're doing a tour like the Struts where we're loading in at 3 and we're done by 9, it's like I maybe work a little, or festival dates where we're playing early or something. It's a lot shorter, but it's also like such a weird job because you're not always working. Like you have little spurts of working, you know, and you're like, oh, I've got to load in and then do sound check and then I have 4 hours off and then it's a show and load out. So it's not like your average like 8 hours clock in, clock out kind of.
Well, here's a little fun tidbit. Brendan, Pete, and at the time, was it you, Pete? Who else played? You guys have a mini rehearsal band that sound checks before. Ryan, yeah.
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, that was fun.
That was a fun time. And so that is leading into I'm going to add to the question. It's what's your favorite Glorious Sons song? And I'm going to say what's your favorite Glorious Sons to play on the drums?
I think my favorite Glorious Sons song, I think it's Josie. I think like every time you guys play that, that's like a good one that gets like everyone pumped up, and it's like, yeah, that's always my favorite when you guys play that live. I think it hits really well every show. And then my favorite one to play on drums with my soundcheck band is Wild Eyes. I think that's like the one I've gotten like closest to playing note for note.
Nice.
But yeah, that's like pretty brief. It was like a couple months in Toronto, like when I was like 20 years old. But I haven't since. I just stick to live pretty much. I've done a little bit of studio work, I guess you can call it, since we've been in the pandemic. I've done some like editing for podcasts and stuff, but that's about it. I'm not much of a studio person. It's something I've always wanted to get into, but just never really, like, I'm always on tour, so I never really have had the chance.
I don't
Until now.
I don't envy that. The engineer job anyways is you're looking at a computer for 12 hours a day, if not more.
Yeah.
How about this one? What are your thoughts on the Brendan Kennedy fan club?
Oh, it's funny. It's a funny thing. It keeps Brett entertained, so, or it did at least for a little. I don't know. He's kind of. I think he's stopped running it through the pandemic as the content hasn't been flowing in. But it's funny. He had fun with it when we were on the. I think it started like the Struts tour. So
This is a good one. I'd also like to hear from Corey. I can't say his last name. It's weird. Have you ever gotten to any arguments with bands while they're sound checking?
oh yeah, definitely.
You want to name any names?
I think guitarists in general with stage volume, I think, is a big battle that not even with your band, it's every band, like
Yeah.
metal bands of playing, like, of days of working at Sneaky D's, metal bands coming in and turning the guitar amps up to 10, and yeah, just stuff like that. Just trying to get that. I don't know. I've had some funny ones of like bands asking for stuff on stage where I'm just confused as to why they would ask for that, but it always has to do with like way more reverb than I think is necessary. But like, I guess it's a taste thing.
Yeah. Or lack of taste.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. That's kind of not one. What are your favorite three? Well, the actual question is your top 3 desert island albums.
Oh man, I'm so bad at this.
I'm very bad. Anytime anybody asks me like, what's your favorite few songs or albums or whatever,
Oh man, I don't know.
it varies probably, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm the kind of person that like finds an album, listens to it like all the time for a couple weeks, and then I don't like think about it for a long time. So I don't know. I can't even think of that.
fair. I'd be in the same spot. I like this
Yeah.
question. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made during a performance?
Oh man.
That seems like you've made a lot thinking that hard.
No. I'm trying to think. There's been like a couple times, like I can remember specific situations, but like they're so like audio person minded that like I don't know if the general public would understand. One that I can think of, and it was in Columbus, on the last tour. I didn't plug in like a cable tight enough, and it kept like crackling because of the like vibration of the stage, and then someone ran into it between like sets or something, and it was like even more, so there was like a crackle in everyone's in-ears, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And then I went and like twisted it back in, and it made like a huge like crackle. Like I should have told JB, I'm like, I'm doing this like in between songs, and it crackled out the whole PA. I don't know, that's such like I've probably like forgot to turn up I remember in New York City once, this wasn't even my fault, but in New York City once, the board totally crashed in your like first 30 seconds of a song, and the sound tech was nowhere to be found. And like there was like pretty important industry people there.
We've been set up twice like that with like terrible.
Yeah.
They're our first 2 shows, and I guess our first show was with Scott Weiland, but the next 2 headlining shows were brutal. Brutal shows. I like this question here from Herb Garbett. What's been the most challenging venue to work in? It's got.
I know a good one. It was actually on the last tour as well. I think I'm saying this because of recency bias, and it's the last tour I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so Austin on that tour, it was like a snowstorm in Texas for the first time like ever, and I remember I had to do monitors and front of house from a room on the side of the stage. It was like we got moved into this like tiny little room inside, and so I had to do both front of house and monitors from another room and have JB on the radio or in a mic going into my ears telling me how to mix the show for like the small room. It was
That's weird. That's
so
happened
weird.
a few times, hasn't it? Where you've switched to front of house again, like in
Yeah,
Europe, and why is that?
I think it like we couldn't fit both consoles in the room because the stage was so small, and like because we had to got moved in from the bigger stage because there was a snowstorm in Austin, Texas. Which
Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
show.
And
That sucked.
yeah, yeah, they packed like so many people in this tiny room, and yeah, so I had to like mix. Like I couldn't see any of you guys, so like mixing ears. Like if any of you guys wanted changes or whatever, I was just
Yeah,
going off instinct.
we were all aware. We were just along for the ride on that show.
Yeah,
Especially like Jay and Brett got hammered for that show,
yeah,
which doesn't happen too often. Like I went to playing like a record store at like I just got a tattoo and it was like 3 p.m. and they were just lit. And I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be a tough one. And I just had fun with it. Okay. Here's another sound question. Which venue is the most acoustically appealing?
Oh, I think 930 Club
Really?
in Washington is really good. They have a really good PA, like top of the line, and the room just sounds great. Like I really like that venue.
It's not about the cupcakes, is it?
No.
Okay.
It's about the free T-shirts.
Yeah.
No, I really like that venue. Where else? I think Mod Club in Toronto, like when it was still open, was a really good one. I mixed there as like a house guy for a couple of years, and I really liked that venue.
Fair enough. For the people that don't know, front of house is the guy that mixes the speakers that the audience hears. And what Brendan does is he does that as well, but for our band, he used to do that for our band, and now he does monitors, which is everything that we hear in our in-ear monitors, which is every bit as important, if not maybe more important in ways, because if we can't hear things the way that we want to hear, and we could fuck up the entire show. Fair, right?
Yeah, I'd say pretty fair.
What's easier, small venues, big venues, or outdoor venues?
I think like smaller, like medium-sized clubs are probably like the nice sweet spot. Like something like the 930 Club, like that's a good sweet spot because you're usually set up like pretty well. Like you have everything you need. I mean, every venue has its challenges. Outdoors is hard because like if it's super windy, it gets into the mics and all you hear is like wind going back and forth, and yeah, that's tough.
I really don't like playing outside.
Yeah,
Like it's a completely different sound when you're playing. Like the sound just
hearing
goes
the snare
away.
come way back off the buildings and stuff. Yeah, it's tough, but big venues are like fun too. Like when we do arenas and stuff, like doing a big rock show in a packed arena, like is awesome. So that's like each have their advantages and disadvantages, like anything.
Yeah.
Roll punches.
You top, middle, or bottom bunk guy?
On the band bus, I'm a bottom bunk. On the crew bus, I'm a middle bunk guy.
Yeah.
I get the promotion up to a middle bunk.
Yeah. That's kind of the middle. I like a middle. I don't like the top. You feel the sway more. The bottom, you feel the road more, and the middle is just right.
I like the rumble of the bottom one. The top one, I'm too tall and awkward to get up there, so that's why I hate it.
It sucks getting up there. I did one top bunk. Anyways, Let's see what else we got here, Brandon. That's kind of a funny question. What band that you haven't worked for would you love to work for and hate to work for? In any order.
Love to work for. There's a lot out there. I think Foo Fighters would be pretty cool. Like they're like a cool rock band that I think would be fun to mix. Like really, really tight live band. I think that would be sweet. Hate to work for anyone who's like like Marilyn Manson or someone who's like a diva or like a known like asshole. I think that I I've heard stories about like anyone like that would just be not fun to work for. I think
Yeah. There's some people that like I think Prince is one of those guys that if you're not doing what he likes, you're gone like right away.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
Prince
Coster
like
tells.
mixes his own shows.
Yeah, he was.
Like when he would like be on stage mixing his own monitors while he's playing. Which is
What's
crazy.
the guy that has worked for us a few times? The bald guy used to do sound for the Hip.
Oh, Mark.
Mark Reekin, and he did sound for Prince or monitors or something, and he was touching the faders and changing stuff, and somehow Prince had somebody like a spotter somewhere in the arena, and it was like a circle arena, and he asked him out to lunch the next day and came in and asked him why he touched the faders.
That's so crazy.
Strange, right? And that he was like the fifth guy on that tour because he kept firing
wild.
everybody. I wouldn't like those high pressure situations.
Yeah, no.
Stones are free, blah blah blah. Go back here a bit. Do you have a favorite city to spend the day off in?
Yeah, I got a couple. I think I like LA. It grew on me. I used to hate LA, but I like it now. I found like some fun stuff to do. I like Pittsburgh is one that I like. Like I've always
I
had
like
good days
Pittsburgh
off
too.
there.
Except those damn sandwiches you had us get.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I still catch flack for that. Anywhere warm when it's winter in Canada is nice. I liked the day we had off in Europe in Berlin was great. I liked that day off. But there's a time, like honestly, like it depends on the tour too, because sometimes you're just at a hotel in a suburb and there's really not like much you can do besides go to the mall across the street. But if you're like downtown in a city, that's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. How about this Chris Pike guy seems to know some inside slang. He asks you, do you have any good stories about the Florida man?
Yeah.
I like when he drinks. He doesn't drink much.
He likes to have fun when I like taking him to hockey games because he's gotten into hockey recently, so taking him to hockey games is always fun. I don't know if there's like really any good stories like outside of me just like beating him at NHL all the time.
Yeah, Brendan would relentlessly a lot of people have asked what Brendan does in his time off in between setting up and tearing down and that, and it is taking the Florida man into the back of the bus and beating him relentlessly in NHL until he comes crying to Brett or I and we have to go in there and lay a whooping on Brendan.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's hard to follow these questions. I don't know if this is one that you can answer or not, but I think you could. What song, in your opinion, does Brett have the strongest vocals? And I would say, I don't know what strongest means, but maybe like loudest. He's a very loud singer.
He is a very loud singer. He gives it his all, that's for sure. I'm not sure. Like he's a pretty strong vocalist all around. Like there's no, I don't know. Like it's I'd say like a funny thing happened. Like he usually goes balls to the wall on that one. Like he likes to have fun with that one.
You want to know something that I want to add to your list of duties when we get back is a tally of mic stands that Brett breaks, because I want to know how many he's broken to this point, but we can start keeping a tally from here on out.
All right,
That'd
I can
be
definitely do that. I guess like we'll have to determine on like what broken because sometimes I try and recycle them back, and he shoots me a look where it's like I'm trying to make the most out of this one because you've already broken 4 in the last 4 songs.
How many did we order? Do you know for like the last tour? Because we ordered a bunch before the tour, right?
Before the tour, I think we went to Guitar Center. We did our rehearsals in Harrisburg. I think we went to the Guitar Center there and bought like 25 mic stands and kept them in the bus bay. And I think they lasted like 2 weeks before we had to get like more. It's like Buffalo alone. I remember the first or second night of the Buffalo, I think he broke 7 in one show.
It's not. He's trying to break them, is what I'm getting.
Yes.
It's not by accident. He's got such passion for breaking mic stands.
Yeah.
Do you have a show you'll never forget?
I mean, I don't forget any of them, which is a thing of mine. One thing I did throughout the pandemic is I put together a list of every show I've ever worked, and I'm compiling it on like a website soon.
Okay.
Which is fun, but and I did a lot of it off memory. Thanks to you guys with the app, I was able to cheat a little bit with that. But I think like Scotiabank Arena on the last tour was like one, just because that was like a bucket list venue for me, being a huge Leafs fan. Like doing the arena was super cool. The Stones show, another one. Like, you never think you're gonna do a show direct support, working with a band direct support for the Rolling Stones. So that's good.
Yeah. Do you remember? Okay, I don't know if this is a broad question. It says, "What was your first job?" But I'm gonna take that as, do you remember who the first band was that you mixed? And how old were you?
Yeah, the first, I guess like I mixed like a bunch of like local bands that no one know, but the first band that took me on tour that I was like mixing that wasn't at like a bar or something was the Flatliners.
Nice.
So I still work with them every now and again to this day, so that's pretty cool. But that was the first band that took me on tour. The first band I mixed, like, I don't know.
Somebody asked a long time ago here what your favorite snack on the road is. You like snack? I remember you used to get candy bars, no peanuts on our
ride. Yeah. I'm big. I think like Sour Patch Kids, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Anything like Gav Buds that I can just take a little from.
Yeah, he likes this candy. What's the coolest thing you've like collected or found on a tour?
Collected.
Well, like I that could be something from a show or something you just bought somewhere that you really like.
I really like the jean jacket I bought in Oregon, which is nice.
I went to the same store. I bought a green one.
Yeah.
You can buy those right at your local. What are they? Sears or whatever, or not Sears.
Oh yeah,
Hudson's Bay Company. They got a nice Levi's section.
I keep all my passes, like any shows like that we do. I keep like any festival passes or wristbands or anything like that, and I've got them put all in frames, which is pretty cool. And they're all framed up on my wall now of all the different tours I've done, and
nice.
I have a bunch in my drawer ready for the next one.
I kind of regret not doing that. I think I do have some somewhere, but maybe I don't. Yeah, I do. I like this question. Do you enjoy going to concerts as a fan?
Yeah, I still do. Yeah. I still love, like, when I was living in Toronto, I think if I was home from touring, I probably went out to shows. Like if I had a night off, I'd probably go to a show at the Horseshoe or another venue or something. So yeah, I still like it. I think I'm a bit more jaded when it comes to like enjoying it as much as I probably used to when I was younger. But like, the classic standing at the back and chatting with friends is having a beer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
More.
When I go to a show anymore, like I used to be like up front And now I enjoy. I'm there to kind of drink and enjoy the music, not as much like
exactly.
partake in what's going on.
And now as an audio guy, it's like even harder because if it's like if you go to a show and it sounds like really bad, you have a hard time enjoying it as much as like I would have when I was a kid and not really noticed the like little intricacies of live sound and stuff. So, but on the other side of that, if it's really, really good, you notice that too.
The people want to see your passes.
What's that?
The people want to see your passes.
Oh yeah, here I'll grab one of them off the wall here. So they're all in frame here. There's a Contender Tour one, but I have a bunch of these made up. So like.
Oh, you got like a gallery wall with a bunch of them on it?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So that's fun. I'll have to get that back up. But yeah, I got a bunch of them, like some old ones from you guys, like the CNE and the first show I did with you guys right there. The Indies.
I certainly don't have all those.
Yeah, I try to keep them all.
Nice.
Some set lists in there too, stuff like that.
All right, Brendan. Well, we've approached the end of this. Is there anything you want to say to the people?
Looking forward to seeing you all back out there. Feel free to bug me for some set lists. I'll do what I can.
All right. Rock and roll, Brendan. You stay on right there. And
Go, Leafs, go.
We'll see everybody next week.